सरकार की
Prem se kaho Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Swami Om Bhaktivinoda ki jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopina Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai Navadvipa Dham ki jai Jagannath Puri ki jai Ganga Mai ki jai Jamana Mai ki jai Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande.
I just quickly introduce Maharaj. His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj is an editor, writer, publisher and teacher and a disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Initiated in 1968, at the age of 18, he served as an editor for nearly all of Srila Prabhupada's books published during his lifetime. He accepted the renounced order of life sannyas in 1978 and has lectured widely at colleges and universities. With that, we would like to welcome His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Thank you very much. We have a Bhagavad Gita series. Meanwhile, we can begin with an auspicious cell phone check. Now, what are we going to do about the children? Do we have a place for them? This is not going to work. No, there's none of this because this doesn't work. You can't tell a bird not to fly or a child not to make noise. They just have to have a nice place where they can be happy. And if there are other children who feel restless, they can join their friends. They have their room. Yeah, might as well join from the beginning, right? She's pretty good so far. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, they must be having a lot of fun next door. Having fun. You want to come join me? Let's see. Would you like to give a number, 1 to 18?
16.
16. And another number?
30.
7?
12. 8. 13.
Well, you've got too many numbers. So 16 plus 7 is what?
23.
23.
23. So divided by 2 is 12 and a half, right?
11
11 and 12, 12. Let's go for 12. This is Bhagavad Gita, well, as it is, chapter 12, text 15. Let's see. Yasmān nodvijate loko,
Yasmān nodvijate loko,
lokān nodvijate
lokān nodvijate
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
mukto yasmān
priyaḥ,
yasmān nodvijate loko,
yasmān nodvijate loko,
lokān nodvijate
lokān nodvijate
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
mukto yasmān
mukto yasmān.
Someone.
Yasmān nodvijate loko,
Yasmān nodvijate loko,
lokān nodvijate chaya,
lokān nodvijate
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
mukto yasmān priyaḥ,
mukto yasmān.
Yasmān nodvijate loko,
Yasmān nodvijate loko,
lokān nodvijate
lokān nodvijate
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair,
mukto yasmān priyaḥ,
mukto yasmān priyaḥ.
Yasmān.
Yasmān.
From whom?
From whom?
No.
No.
Never.
Never.
Nodvijate
Nodvijate
are agitated.
are agitated.
Lokān,
Lokān.
people.
People.
Lokān,
Lokān.
from people.
From people.
No.
No.
Never.
Never.
Nodvijate
Nodvijate
is disturbed.
is disturbed.
Sha,
Sha,
also.
also.
Yaha,
Yaha,
anyone.
anyone.
Harsha,
Harṣā,
from happiness.
from happiness.
Amarsha,
Harṣā,
distress.
distress.
Bhaya, fear.
Fear.
Udvegair, and anxiety.
And anxiety.
Muktaha,
Muktaha,
free.
free.
Yaha,
Yaha,
who. Saha,
Saha,
anyone.
anyone.
Sha,
Sha,
also.
also.
May,
May,
to me.
to me.
Priyaḥ,
Priyaḥ,
very dear.
very dear.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Purport. A few of a devotee's qualifications are further being described. No one is put into difficulty, anxiety, fear, or dissatisfaction by such a devotee. Since a devotee is kind to everyone, he does not act in such a way as to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others try to put a devotee into anxiety, he is not disturbed. It is by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced, that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances cannot move him. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there's something for his sense gratification and his body. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification and he hasn't, he is sorry and envious. When he's expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he's in a state of fear. And when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. A devotee who's always transcendental to all these disturbances is very dear to Krishna.
You got that recorded?
No. So it's charging. Recorded it? This one, I think they're doing the recording.
Yeah.
Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashraya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupapadamahyam Tathati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shrabrajatam Shraganatan Vidatam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadhutam Pradjana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Bhagavana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaugambi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashananu Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Golpatatrubhyacha Kripa Sindho Vyayvacha Patidana Pavangadebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Swami Shri Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasmān nodvijate loko lokān nodvijate priyaḥ harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair mukto priyaḥ. In this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the second half of the chapter, Lord Kṛṣṇa describes the qualities of a devotee, and in each description says that such a devotee is dear to him. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam also it said, Yasyasji Bhakti Bhagavad Kinchana Sarvarguna Tatra Samasate Sudha. Anyone who becomes an unalloyed devotee of Krishna develops all the good qualities of the demigods, all the godly qualities. So, yasmān nodvijate loko. A devotee doesn't agitate others. In the material world, we even take pleasure in agitating others. We have some position of authority. And, hey, who do you think you are? Get to the back of the line. You know, one way or another, we like to be heavy and cause some, even, you know, you're just a sales clerk. You say, you know, I'm sorry, sir, you'll have to go to the back of the line. We take pleasure in just seeing others disturbed, agitated. There's a certain children have this mentality. They'll tease some other child and the other child cries, right? And the first child is happy. Yes. This is not so wonderful, to take pleasure in seeing others disturbed or agitated. But this quality is found everywhere in the material world. And if there's someone who doesn't have that quality, that's very nice. About the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami said, Dhira dhira jana priya karo nirmatsaro pujita. They were dear to the cultured people and to the uncultured or the ruffians, because they weren't envious of anyone. They were the well-wishers. Even in Vrindavan, even the local householders, if there was some disagreement between husband and wife, they would take it to Sanatana Goswami, or one of the Goswamis. This was the problem. And the Goswamis, just out of affection, would help them out. And such great authors, great scholars, but they had such affection for the Brajvasis, and they would help. Apart from that, they were kind to everyone. And that's a devotee's mentality. Materialist is kind to himself, not even, but that's who he's concerned with. But a devotee is a kind friend to everyone. A kind friend to everyone. Especially the advanced devotees. They're so kind that they go through immense trouble just to help someone become Krishna conscious. The materialist will go through great trouble for his own profit, or maybe the welfare of his family members. But an advanced Krishna conscious person sees others to be like himself. Atmavat sarvabhuteshu, atmopamyena sarvatra, samam pashyati varjana sukham yadivarduk suyogiri paramamata. Krishna says the yogi or devotee sees others to be like himself. So they know, I wouldn't want to be in distress. Why should I put others in distress? Even one Narad Muni made one hunter into a devotee. The hunter was so cruel that he would kill the animals halfway, just so that they could suffer. He'd enjoy seeing them suffer till death. But when he became a devotee, he became so kind that he was unwilling to step on an ant even. So this is the influence of the spiritual energy, the influence of Krishna's mercy. And the devotee becomes a perfect saintly person and cares for the welfare of others. Not their material welfare so much. Of course, he's not envious of their so-called material assets, because what is it will be finished? The money, the big house, the car, this, that. It's just like smoke. It'll just disappear sometime. But and if someone's in poverty, even that will also disappear. If there's happiness, that will go. And if there's distress, that will go. But the devotee is not so much concerned with trying to set things right so that there'll be material happiness. Often we have people, can you pray for me? Give me your blessing. A blessing to you. Oh, my son should pass his exams. My husband's health should improve. Some material temporary benefit. So all right, we may not fight about it. Yes, but that's not the real benefit. Real benefit is to become Kṛṣṇa conscious and freed from these dualities of pass and fail, or happiness and distress. The devotee is not trying to make this the ideal world where there's no hunger, there's no sadness, there's no this, there's no that. There's an expression, probably this is an unfamiliar expression for you. You can't make a silk purse from a sow's ear. Not a familiar expression, but you know what it means, right?
Yeah.
If you have a sow is a female pig, so the ear may be very nice and soft, but you can't make a silk purse from the sow's ear. Vaisheshika Prabhu translated it into another idiom for me today. So there's no use putting lipstick on a pig. So the devotee doesn't try to turn this material dukkhalaya into sukhalaya. It's just certified as dukkhalaya by the Lord himself. But the devotee is the real friend. He points out, the materialists, they want to be your friend by giving you food, by giving you shelter. But the friendship of the devotee is to say that Kṛṣṇa is your real friend. Suridam sarvabhutana. And when we revive that friendship with Kṛṣṇa, then every problem is solved. Otherwise, I solve your money problem and you've got a marital problem. I solve your marital problem and you've got a career problem. I solve your career problem and you get hit by a truck. No one can escape the laws of nature and the reactions of past karma, the effects of destiny. It can't be changed by any material means. But one who becomes free from material illusions and revives his Kṛṣṇa consciousness becomes free from birth and death, to say nothing of lesser troubles. So, coming back to the verse, Kṛṣṇa says that the saintly person, the devotee, doesn't agitate others. And he doesn't become agitated by others. Which is not so easy, because people are agitating. People do so many things that, maybe small things that just disturb us, or they're deliberately trying to agitate us, or it's really serious business and we become thoroughly disturbed, they're trying to take away our job, or they're trying to do something else that's seriously going to impede my work, or they're critical, they want to blacken our reputation, point out our faults, humiliate us. And it's not so easy just to say, no. What the heck? Our immediate reaction is to want to retaliate. Oh yeah. And well, what about your nonsense? And it becomes like a mudslinging event. I criticize you, you criticize me, I criticize you back. And it becomes entertainment also for others. Let's see who can send the sharpest arrow in the opposite direction. And just to amplify all of these dealings, we have social media, where these things are, I don't really understand the dynamics of it. I don't know if those who've created it and use it understand the dynamics of it. But it creates an atmosphere in which criticism becomes an art form and a source of deep pleasure. And observing it is also a source of pleasure. So that wherever there's controversy and contention and criticism, the algorithms bring the discussion up to the top. This is what's interesting. So it's very hard when we're being criticized or when our interests are being impinged on. It's hard just to be unaffected. Naturally, you'll feel affected. Unless we remember Kṛṣṇa. By remembering Kṛṣṇa, first of all, we remember Krishna's instructions that what does this have to do with me? I'm not this body. All of these criticisms or all of these difficulties pertain to the body, pertain to the mind. So why should I be? What does that have to do with me? Why should I be invested in these false designations, false identities? Or tam statiksha svabharat, matras parchas tikam shi doshna shukadukadaha agama payano vidyas tam statiksha svabharat. Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna that whatever comes and goes in this world that pleases or displeases the senses or the mind, it has a beginning, it has an end. You gonna join the fun crowd? You gonna join the fun crowd? We won't hold it against you. Krishna says it's like some summer and winter, it comes, it goes. So just tolerate it. Why be disturbed by the coming and going of temporary circumstances? Just tolerate. Not so easy, but it's done. Yam labdva chapram labam manyate nadikam tataha yasmin stito nidukena gurun api vicharate. tambudya, dukkha samyoga, viyoga yoga samhita. In the 6th chapter, the Lord describes the ecstatic state reached by the yogi or the devotee, and says that when the devotee achieves this state, niyam lobdva, sha aparam labham, manyate nadikam. He thinks there's nothing better than this. Not money, not followers, not adoring crowds or adoring women, not this, not that. To be absorbed in this way in Krishna consciousness is the best thing there is. He relishes that state of being fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna. If he's a yogi, he's thinking of the Paramatma. If he's a devotee, he's thinking of Krishna, personality of Godhead. And he thinks nothing is better. And Krishna says, yasmān stata, being situated that way, dukkena guruna pibisha. He's not affected even by the heaviest miseries. Guruna pi, guru means verse heavy, even by the heaviest disturbances, he's not disturbed. Because he's seen on the platform of eternity, he's not seen on the platform of things that come and go. This is the stage of even that, not only misery, but happiness also doesn't disturb him. Haridas Thakur was approached in the middle of the night by a young, beautiful prostitute. And she was, you're so young, you're so handsome, I'm just burning up with desire for you. Please be kind to me, please be merciful. Satisfy my senses. All right, but let me finish my rounds first. Wasn't effective. Of course, not everyone is Haridas Thakur, but still, the example is there. And he was so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that when he was offered the prospect of enjoyment in this way, he thought, what is this? There's one time I saw a little, like a drawing in Vrindavan, a little illustration. I wish I'd purchased it, somehow I didn't. But it showed Haridas Thakur and the prostitute. And the prostitute is sort of, showing off her goods. And Haridas Thakur is there. He's a young man. And he's just smiling and practically laughing, as if to say, well, lady, you gotta be joking. You want me to fall for that? Forget it. That means such enjoyment that the so-called enjoyment that the materialist would jump for, he just thinks, what's this crazy lady? Bunch of flesh and blood and other such stuff. What's that? Because he's enjoying Nava-Nava-rasa, ever new pleasure in the service of Krishna. Raso-bhajam raso-pyasya. Param drishtva. He's not just saying, I can't do this. He's so absorbed in the higher pleasure of Krishna consciousness that the lower pleasure doesn't attract him. So he doesn't agitate others, and he's not agitated. This is another kind of agitation, sexual agitation. He's not agitated done by that, even, or by miseries, even gurunapi, very heavy miseries. Because he's situated in self-realization and realization of Krishna. He's situated in the reality, so the disturbances on the illusory platform don't pull him away, don't agitate his mind. In the less than perfect stage, at least he controls his mind. Because there is some taste of higher realization. It may not be perfect, may not be Haridas Thakur, but he has some taste. So the things that would agitate an ordinary person or attract or repel an ordinary person, he loses interest in, because he's found a higher reality and a higher pleasure. He's found his real relationship with Krishna. And in that relationship, he's fully, should we say, fully satisfied. Yasmān nodvijate loko, lokān, that becoming agitated just leads to more agitation. And if I retaliate against you, then what will you do? You retaliate against me, I'll become more agitated, you'll become more agitated. The world is like that, then it becomes a violent incident or a war. From that point of view also, it's just tolerance. Harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair. Udvega. That was Purport translated. Anxiety. He's freed from anxiety. He's freed from happiness and distress. And that pair of opposites. I was listening to one devotee who was making this point that happiness and distress both bring happiness, and happiness and distress both bring distress. How is that? Distress brings distress when it comes, and it brings happiness when it goes. And happiness brings happiness when it comes, and distress when it goes. So they both bring happiness and distress. Harṣāmarṣa. But the Krishna conscious person, mukto, he's freed from those things. And he's freed from material life altogether. So these are only some of the good qualities of the devotee. This is one verse out of several here in Bhagavad Gita, and there are so many more. So the purpose of our Krishna consciousness movement is to reawaken this attraction for Krishna, by which all good qualities automatically come. This is spiritual culture. By Krishna consciousness, one becomes, Prabhupada said elsewhere, a perfect gentleman. Otherwise, arava bhaktasya kutava. If one isn't Krishna conscious, and even if he has some good qualities, they're temporary. As soon as my personal interest is threatened, all my good qualities suddenly disappear. Or even if I have good qualities, they're superficial. Or they're spoiled by this one bad quality that I'm an outlaw. Asura means outlaw. Deva Sure Vicha. And I'm not willing to cooperate with Krishna. I'm not willing to recognize that Krishna is the owner of everything, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that Krishna is the rightful enjoyer of everything, that Krishna is the real friend of all living beings. Instead, I want to be the friend of all living beings, I want to be the enjoyer, I want to be the controller. So, the materialists, even if they have some good qualities, if they're not Krishna conscious, then all their good qualities are spoiled. And I've given the example, there's someone who's very soft-spoken, very polite, very generous, very friendly to his friends, very affectionate to his children. And he's the head of the local mafia. So he has all these good qualities, but because he's at odds with the government, opposed to the government because he's an outlaw, all of his good qualities are canceled. If his lawyer says, yes, he's very kind, he's generous, he's good to his family, the judge doesn't say, oh, then everything's all right. No, you robbed the bank. So all the good qualities of the materialists are spoiled by this one fault, that they're not Krishna conscious. They're even like Ravana, he was a great scholar. Hiranyakashipu, he was like unmatched in terms of tapasya. Amazing qualities. But because he was a demon, it was all lust. So, most important quality, we hear good qualities here, to be undisturbed, to be equipoised and so on. But the real quality is to be a devotee of Krishna. Then all the good qualities will follow. We want to try to we don't need to separately work on every quality. If we just focus on this one thing, everything will follow. For training children, it's very important. We're happy that they're having fun someplace else. But it's very important for them to become trained in this one thing, to be Krishna conscious. And they'll become ideal human beings, ideal cultured people, just by remembering Krishna, just by serving Krishna. And their whole life can be successful. Otherwise, without Krishna consciousness, their whole life or our whole life is spoiled. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought this method, simply chant Hare Krishna and take up this process, serving Krishna, and might become successful. Okay, why don't we stop there, see if there's some questions.
Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, who's also Mahatma Business of Bishop Prabhupada. Wonderful lecture, Maharaj. Thank you so much. I was just wondering, a couple of questions came in my mind, but as you went through the lecture, it all got answered.
Let's do one thing. Jagadish, did you bring that question?
Yes.
I have a good place for it. them for bringing it. Okay. Yes.
So I was wondering, how do we explain this to somebody? Since we're following Krishna consciousness, we can appease ourselves by thinking that, someone's disturbing us, we're not this body, just pray to Krishna, we don't just tolerate. But somebody who's in the thick of it, how can we help them become Krishna conscious and explain the situation?
Best thing is, it doesn't happen all at once. That if someone's not Krishna conscious and he's totally disturbed, then now you have to give him a crash course in Krishna consciousness. But if you equip them with Krishna consciousness, then when difficulties come, they can deal with it. All right. And you can remind them, all right, now you think of Krishna. They have the training to fall back on. Otherwise, it's starting from zero. And just like I was hearing in the military training, they train you so well that, like, when you hit the battlefield, you just automatically know what to do. Especially, if you're in special forces or something like that, it just becomes like second nature. You hear a sound and you hit the ground and whatever it is, you know what to do. Otherwise, if you don't have that training and they send you out there, you're good for 13 seconds and then you're finished. So that training is so, even if it's like harsh, which it sometimes is, but it's so valuable, it can save your life. So the best thing is, therefore, Prahlad Maharaj said, Akomara atre pragya dharman bhagavatam. From the age of 5 years, one should be trained in Bhagavatam. Now we want to, from the age of 5 years, we want to start getting you ready for IIT. It's misplaced aspirations. The IIT degree doesn't save me at the time of death. Krishna consciousness will. At that time, that's the only thing that will help me. Everything else will be finished. So, if a child is trained from a young age, then whatever may come in this world, he's equipped to deal with it. He knows this is what it is, and here's how I can think about it, how I should see it. I have to see Krishna in everything and remember Krishna's instructions. And so he's ready for anything, whether it's danger or whether it's responsibility or whether it's happiness or distress. He knows. He has a reference point that Krishna is the center of all. In self-interest even. I should always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. But the person who has no background, all right, still, sometimes Krishna's instructions are so powerful that the person will, if you just say, why did you do something? Say, I didn't think of that. So we try to give helpful instructions. Or sometimes, what can we do? Just, Hare Krishna. Something else?
So, on this topic of material benefits and the story of Haridas Thakur, how does a devotee not become lost in the material benefits that come as a byproduct of bhakti yoga? like the tests of Maya and these various.
Sometimes he does get lost. It's Maya's test, and sometimes if one is not strong, he does get lost. But if one is properly trained and if one is serious, then he remains. Even if he gets lost, actually, Narad Muni says in Bhagavatam that even if someone being apakva, being not yet mature in Krishna consciousness, even if he takes to it and falls down, still he's better off than the person who never took to it. And he'll come back. He'll remember, no, there was nothing better than that. I have to come. He can't go back to being a materialist again. It's spoiled for him. He knows this is all Maya. What is there? So eventually he comes back and can, or better yet, whatever assets he's made, progress he's made, he knows, no, this is not right. I'm not going to do this. This is going to get in the way of my chanting, my service. And the more one becomes strong in Krishna consciousness, the less one can have any effect. Yaha Krishna, taha Maya na. Where there's Krishna, just as where there's sun, the darkness can't stand. Where there's Krishna, there can't be moved. Okay.
And the deeper one goes, does Maya try to send more powerful arrangements to?
Oh, Maya never gives up. It's Jayadvaita. She's a good servant. So this is her service. Try to keep everyone under illusion. But when someone surpasses Maya, Maya becomes guilty. Well, maybe I'll surrender to this. Good. All right. Be free. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hare Krishna. My sincere humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. There's a microphone coming to your direction.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My sincere humble obeisances for you. Someone in Krishna's consciousness, and he rejects all his parents and all his family members, because all the family members and all the friends in this world comes from Krishna, parts and parcels of Krishna. All the parents and everyone comes.
Yeah, if you hold it closer, it works better.
Yeah. Okay. All his parents and everyone comes from parts and parcels of Krishna, right?
Yeah.
So someone ignores all his parents and family members and all the friends. He rejects all of them, and he will be still in Krishna consciousness. Even in Prahlad Maharaj and his father. He was very rude at Prahlad Maharaj because he's in Vaishnava, right? So, but in like, what was the Prahlad Maharaj was accepting his father, like how he was accepting his father, because his father is.
Accepting means what?
Accepting means what? Like what Prahlad Maharaj was his father was very rude and Prahlad Maharaj.
More, Hiranyakashipu was a little more than rude. He tried to kill the boy in so many ways.
Yeah, that's what. But what was the things from Prahlad Maharaj?
For Prahlad Maharaj, he just remained Krishna conscious. And he didn't just accept the father says, give up this nonsense. No. I mean, do more of this nonsense. Not that because you want me to give this up, I'm going to give it up. And because you're siding with the enemy. Vishnu killed my brother. And Prahlad Maharaj And he goes on chanting Hare Krishna. He doesn't give it up because his father wants to give it up, wants him to give it up, or his friends, or anyone. He remains the well-wisher of his father. Not that because his father becomes his enemy, Prahlad becomes his enemy. But he knows that his real friend is Krishna, and he remains fixed in Krishna consciousness. But I suppose that the ideas of the question is that how can we give up our parents? How can we give up our friends?
Exactly, Maharaj.
It may not be necessary. The friends or the parents are congenial, they're not obstacles, all right. But if they're opponents of Krishna consciousness, then one can give up even friends and family members. After all, they're friends and family members only for a few minutes. Example is given in Bhagavatam that there's some stuff floating in the ocean, sticks and seaweed, and floats together, and then for a while it floats like this, and then again it floats. So for a little while we come together, friends, family members, countrymen, and so on, and then no longer. Either there's divorce, or there's death, but one way or another, misunderstanding, and one way or another, that assemblage of people as friends and family members will be finished. So the devotee sees that, why should I sacrifice the eternal relationship with Krishna for a temporary relationship based on the body only? In terms of the body, someone is my father, someone's my friend, someone my father, someone my son, someone my brother or sister. So the devotee rises above these things. He doesn't become the enemy. Hey, you're just Maya. He remains undisturbed, remains a friend to everyone, he remains equipoised. But he knows that my eternal relationship is not the relationship that I got a few years ago and that will be finished a few years from now. It's my eternal relationship with Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Arjuna is ready to kill his family members. Once the speaker give up, he's ready to kill them. Krishna will be pleased by killing my cousins and friends.
Thank you so much for the nice topic in the class. The question I have is Vedic science like Vastu Shastra or astrology. Does it fall into the material arrangement of this world or is beyond that?
Material. Astrology means Jyotish has to do with the stars. Stars aren't eternal. East and west and north and south. And property itself, it's not eternal. All worlds can be destroyed. And you know, auspicious pond and northeast or whatever it is, it'll be gone. These Vedic literature covers everything, so there's Vastu Shastra, there's Nacha Shastra, there's Tantra, Veda, there's everything. But those are temporary arts. We're not very much interested in those things. Maybe sometimes useful, but we're not consulting the stars at every moment. There was I was on a train I forget where, somewhere in India. And the girl asked me, "Okay, you read palms?" So I said, "Show me." So she showed me a palm. I said, "Oh." I can see by your palm that if you chant Hare Krishna, your life will be sublime. So if you want to practice palmistry, for a devotee, whatever the chart, it's auspicious. I'll tell you another palmistry story. I was traveling with Lokanath Maharaj and Padayatra party in India in the 1980s. And we came to, what was then Malava. And we had a life member there, so we visited the life member. He was an MP in Alabama. And his hobby was to read palms. So we visited him at his house. And then he, was dusting off the palms of the devotees and wanted to read there. So he read my palm. So he looked at my palm and said, "Is your father alive?" I said, "No." "Did he leave you any money?" "No." "How are you living?" I said, "You have a good brain, but you can never use it to make any money." From my chart, I have quite a number of inauspicious things. I'll never be blessed to live at home. I'll have no family happiness. A few more like that. But if you engage in Krishna consciousness, this is like a blessing. I'll never have to live at home. I can travel all over the world. Never be entangled in family happiness. So even, a curse in your chart becomes a blessing. Apart from that, if one is engaged in the service of Krishna, said if you just clap your hands before the deities, all the crows of sinful reactions fly away. Like if you clap your hands, the birds fly away. If you clap and chant before the deities, then all the crows cast are scared off. So you chant and all the lines on your hands change. Something else? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Just a quick follow-up to Prabhu's question. We see in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and as well as after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Acharyas, whenever they used to traveling from Bengal to Vrindavan or all these travels, it is seen that they have, before starting on the journey, they see auspicious moment when you can sit on the journey. So how to understand that aspect, probably?
That's by culture they do. And it's not such an important thing. Like the initiation, for example, there's a discussion in maybe Hari Bhakti Vilas, and you should initiation should be given on this day or this day or this day or same day or this day or that day, or any day that the Guru decides. So many auspicious days, but any day that you're engaged in the service of Kṛṣṇa, that day becomes auspicious. There's a Panjika. There's a very famous one in Maharashtra, I think. Carl something, I've forgotten the name, maybe somebody knows it. It's auspicious and inauspicious days, auspicious and inauspicious moments. And there's a Navadip Panjika also. My godbrother, Lumna, was Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor. He was traveling with Srila Prabhupada. He had a copy of this Panjika. And there was some discussion, when Prabhupada would be traveling, and Pritama would have the book, Srila Prabhupada, Monday morning is not so. And Prabhupada told me, he said, if you go by that book, you can't do anything. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for the class. My question comes from the context that I feel like ambition and drive are a lot really related to material success, financial success, and things like that. And I kind of have two questions that I'm going to mix into one. And so, first of all, is it a bad thing to have ambition in your career? And if so, how do you have ambition in your career and get to keep that, but also do it in service to Kṛṣṇa?
Is it a bad thing to have ambition in your career? And
if so, how can you
so
change the
what do you
mindset?
do
Yeah.
so that you can be Krishna conscious? Actually, sorry to say, priorities have been bent out of shape. Naturally, if someone has a career, there has to be some enthusiasm, some ambition. But it's now become the most important thing in life to advance in a career, to come to the top of your profession. And for that, you have to start classes at the age of 3. And it all becomes about career and ambition and achievements and success and all of this. And then what happens to our Krishna consciousness? It becomes lost. Bhogaishārya prasaktānām taya praditacetasa vyavasayatmika buddhi samādho nodvijate. For one who's attached to enjoyment and opulence, it's very difficult to fix the mind in Krishna and become. Therefore, in the Shastra, the direction is ajivasya tattva jigyasa. What is that? Lavo jiveta yavata. Lavo jiveta. Kamasya priyaḥ. Lavo jiveta yavata. That life is not meant for kama. Ambition falls within kama. Either I want this girl, or I want this job, or I want this money, or I want this post. Kama. Kama should not indriya priti, but our kama should not be directed towards sense gratification. Lavo jiveta yavata. And Bhagavatam says, what we need. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. But what we need is not so much. If we look through our stuff and put it in two piles, what I really need and the rest of it is the big pile. But we're dedicating our life to the rest of it, working hard for the rest of it. But Bhagavatam says, no, this is what you need. And save your energy for tattva jigyasa, for spiritual inquiry, which is the real purpose of life. Not artha nischena karma. Don't be busy. Where is money? Where is money? Where is money? Where is money? Oh, where's Kṛṣṇa? That should be our business. But we're getting bent out of shape. And we're directing ourselves towards material success. That's the all in all. And Bhagavad Gita is very good if it'll give me secrets for, advancing in my career. So, fundamentally, it's misplaced. Now, India's surging ahead, and any decent corporation in America now has to have some Indian guy who's eating. But that's not but then you go to a place like Bangalore, and they've lost their culture. Where what was once like a very peaceful sort of traditional city, now it's, clubs and all that kind of stuff. And the young people, alcohol, and, young Brahmins who now they're making, big money. And they've lost their bearings. So we're bent out of shape. And don't mind the girls especially, like the most important thing for a girl is to have a big career. So this is her life. She should first go to school, then go to university, then go to graduate school, and then start her career. And when she's 36, she should maybe get married. It's like cuckoo. It's like no one ever heard of biology. Of course, a girl becomes mature at 36. What's gotten into people's brains that they think this is what my daughter needs. Above all, a career. Why? Generations and centuries and millennia. There have been so many women who live lives of material fulfillment and happiness and spiritual culture without, an MBA. But now that's the most important thing. Above all, my daughter needs a career. Because she can't get a good husband without unless she's got at least an MBA. The whole thing is out of whack. So, all right, whatever we're going to do, I'm doing it for Kṛṣṇa, so let me do it nicely. It's not that to be Kṛṣṇa conscious, you have to be a failure in everything. You have to say, well, no. Arjuna was the best archer in the world. And he didn't go out there to Kurukshetra to become a loser. He's, in terms of achievement. Not that a Kṛṣṇa conscious person has to be a wimp, has to be a non-starter, has to be a failure materially. the most accomplished people in the world were always Vaishnavas. So it's not that one can't do these things. But what was the most important thing for Arjuna was Krishna's service. Everything else was secondary. Everything else was secondary. Yudhishthira Maharaj became king of the world. They wanted Kurukshetra. And a few years later, he leaves behind the whole kingdom and goes to the Himalayas. Because he knows that everything is temporary. I'm going to have to give it up one way or the other. Heads for the north, and his brothers with him, Draupadi and Kunti. So we don't want to lose that perspective that all of these things are coming and going. And my life is coming and going. I get, say, 100 years at the most. And if I've dedicated, 70 of them for my career, something's wrong. So these spiritual values are meant to keep our life on course so that we don't get lost. Career, money, home, paraphernalia, position, banquets, this, that. And according to Krishna's arrangement, a certain amount of wealth will come, a certain amount of success, a certain amount. So let me do my duty and let me do it for long. But let me not forget the real purpose of life. Otherwise, everything's lost. Okay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
I can be a very unpopular speaker. Go to all the corporates and tell them that they're wasting their time. Secrets of success in the Vedic literature. It's all what we should do. They'll never invite me back to Greece.
So Maharaj, follow up on that, like even like some people do research, right?
We're giving you a microphone.
Just an extension to it, like people do
I
research.
think you're switched off.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Maharaj, just a follow up on that. So people do research, right? For example, even for a social cause, not for just money or some material thing. So some people are engrossed into some research. So is that also considered a, it's actually temporary, but still like it is a social cause? How do we compare that, like a person spending his whole life into Krishna consciousness and another person who has given a big invention or a thing to this world which is helping, for example, cure to cancer or something like that?
Yeah, that's really a great thing. Imagine the achievement of the people who finally discovered the cure for cancer, and that what a huge difference it'll make in the world. Now practically, the cause of death, cancer. And they find a cure for cancer. That's like a huge achievement. They'll probably win the Nobel Prize for medicine, and thousands and millions of lives will be saved. And then cancer will be replaced by the next disease. Just now, like, who dies of tuberculosis? Pretty much out of the way. Instead, we all die of cancer. The underlying problem will not be solved by any amount of research by any social contribution, by any material means. These same underlying problems, birth, death, old age, disease. Disease will not be, you can, Prahlad Maharaj says, you can take the burden from one shoulder and you can put it on the other shoulder. But that doesn't get rid of the burden. These great contributions are insignificant. The Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said something to the effect that all the welfare workers, all the great accomplishments of the welfare workers of this world are not as valuable as one man ringing the bell in the temple room. Confirmed. From the material point of view, these are wonderful things. To open a hospital, to give to a college, to succeed in breakthrough research, to administer, to go to places that are stricken by an epidemic and cure people. But it doesn't say that. Prabhupada gave the story of the drowning man. There's some man that was drowning, and people were on the shore. He's drowning, he's drowning. One hero dove into the water and caught up with the man and came back to shore with his coat. He'd saved the coat of the drowning man. So this body is the body and mind are the shirt and coat of the soul. So if we save the shirt and coat of the drowning man, what contribution is that? It's a radical position because the whole world is telling us that social work and social contributions and doing things for others and coming up with solutions to this and that. These are the great people, the people who do this. And Bhagavad Gita is telling us they're not doing it. They can't save themselves, and they can't save anyone else. Prabhupada gave therefore the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahabalanyadata. He makes the most magnanimous person alive. Because he's giving Krishna consciousness. So there's no shortage of anything in this world except Krishna consciousness. And we see in India, so many of our, India is kind of a big thing, and so many of the most important people are our life members. And so we get to meet them and get to see how miserable they are. In spite of being great men in worldly estimation, they were also suffering. They were also suffering. Everybody wants to be like them. They're also suffering to the extent that they're not Krishna conscious. Prabhupada told another story. Suppose you go to meet some very big man. I guess it would be Ambani these days. Back then it was Birla. You meet the man, you meet his sons, and some days later you're in your car and you see the son and he's tapping on your window, begging for some food. So if you roll down your window and you give him some bread, are you being kind to him? He's hungry. He has no food. No. Kindness is, you say, wait a second, I know you. You get in my car. And you take him back to his body. then all of his problems are solved. Otherwise, you solve his bread problem, still he has a mental problem. But if you bring him back to his father, every problem is solved. Therefore, the devotee is the greatest welfare worker. This idea that just giving food is like such a great thing. And we flatter ourselves that we're going to, rid California of hunger. Hunger has been here since the time of the Native Americans. It'll be here long after we're gone. To give food, to give medical help. This doesn't really solve the problem of the soul. He'll come back again in another body, repeat another round of miserable life. And the devotee is giving transcendental knowledge, transcendental culture by which he can get free from all of those things. Even materially, if someone takes up Kṛṣṇa consciousness, how he's not taking drugs, he's not having illicit sex, he's not, and his habits are regular, he gets up early in the mornings, and his health will improve, his everything will improve. But that's not why we do it. That's just sort of extra icing on the cake. The real wealth, the greatest wealth, there's no wealth or work that compares to distributing Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Even knowledge, ordinary knowledge. Who criticizes Harvard University for not feeding the poor? They don't have any program for feeding the poor. What's wrong with them? Why aren't they feeding the poor? That's not their mission. Their mission is that we give, the very best education, university education in America. That's their mission. Our mission is that we give better knowledge than Harvard University. Actually, compared to Kṛṣṇa consciousness, the knowledge they give is ignorance. Because it's only in relation to the body and mind. So this is our mission, to give transcendental knowledge, transcendental culture, Kṛṣṇa consciousness, which is the real need of the world. If there's Kṛṣṇa consciousness, everything else will be in the right order. Then all the other things have value. Your education, your career, your family. When there's Kṛṣṇa, then everything connected to Kṛṣṇa gets value. Prabhupada would say 0 is 0. When you put a 1, you got 10, you got 2 zeros, you get 100. We connect everything with Kṛṣṇa and that's valuable. Otherwise, 0 on its own. Is that okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
What are my instructions? Should I stop?
Books.
Book instruction. Okay. You have a batch, huh? All right. This is a book ad. I have 2 books. A red book and a blue book. This is the red book, as you can see, called Vanity Karma. It's a translation, not translation, a commentary on biblical book. I think it's the first Hindu commentary on complete book of the Bible. And it's what would you say? It's meant for, well, I should say the biblical book is unusual because it's a book of philosophy. I'm not interested in the Bible in particular. But this one particular biblical book is a philosophical book. It questions whether life even has meaning. And so it provides a very good dialogue partner for us. This is a topic we care about. So the book is written for outsiders. It assumes that one doesn't know anything about the Bible or about Hare Krishna or Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't use a lot of technical jargon. It's meant for the intelligent ignoramus. An ignoramus is something who doesn't know anything. But an intelligent ignoramus can understand what you're talking about. I may not know anything about the subject matter. I may be an ignoramus. But if you explain it to me and I'm intelligent, then I can understand it. So this book is written for the intelligent ignoramus, for a person who doesn't know anything about Krishna, or hardly anything. But he's intelligent. That's all he has to be, a little intelligent. And he doesn't have to be a great scholar intelligent. This is written at like an undergraduate level. Any smart high school student can read this book. So this is meant for outreach. And devotees may also find it interesting, but especially outsiders. And if anyone happens to be interested in the Bible, well, okay, we have a book for you. But even an atheist can find these philosophical issues interesting. So it's available, and especially for your colleagues, your outside friends, or the students, fellow students. It's a good entry in, and stimulate interest in Prabhupada's books and rest of the Krishna consciousness movement. And it won the Benjamin Franklin Gold Award, so it must be good. Independent Book Publishers Association. And this was the Blue Book. The Blue Book is for us, for those who are chanting Hare Krishna, especially anyone who's interested in kirtan. The Blue Book is Srila Prabhupada's kirtan standards. Although Smartane Nakala, there are no hard and fast rules for chanting Hare Krishna, but Prabhupada gave instructions. What to chant, what not to chant, how to do it, how not to do it. There are so many standards that Prabhupada gave us that we may not know about. And there's so many standards that never came from Prabhupada at all. That's how they were doing it when I joined. That must be the standard. But no one can actually trace back where that standard came from. And so a lot of those, they're so like pseudo standards. You have to do this, you have to do that. And no, you don't have to at all. Maybe we shouldn't even do it at all. But this is the standard. And so it's sort of backwards sometimes that the real standards get lost and the standards that aren't standard become standard. So I've pulled together instructions from Srila Prabhupada in this book. Broad questions: what should we think about while chanting? What should be our mood? What should be our consciousness? What should not be our consciousness? And broader questions. Down to particulars: what mantras should we chant? What mantras shouldn't we chant? How are things pronounced? When should we chant what? So both things are there. And this book is really, it's meant to be a handbook for kirtan. Kirtan can become a real mess when it becomes just a performance, and when it becomes all about the music, when our acharyas are Bhimsen Joshi and
Jasraj. Pandit Jasraj.
Ajit Rashraj, so on. Anupchulota. Acharya. It's not meant to be just a musical performance. It's not meant for pleasing crowds. It's meant for pleasing Krishna. It's not meant to be clanging and banging. It's meant to be sweet and melodious. There's a lot of instructions from Srila Prabhupada. And so it's really meant for all the devotees. Our hope is that every devotee who's interested in kirtan will want to have a copy and go through it and see. There's lots of surprises too, I can guarantee you. Shocks.
I would like.
You'd like a copy? Okay. So, what's our arrangement, Jagadish?
I'll take care of the books along with Kaltukarna, if you will. And so anyone who wants to come up can just come up to the two of us and we'll...
Okay, so here's our two bookmen, and if you'd like to get a book, see them. And I guess my job is to sign it if that's way. Someone will give me a pen and we'll do that. And then, so what do we do now? We have some kirtan. I don't run the program, so what happens next?
Thank you,
Okay.
Maharaj. We would like to thank Maharaj by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol!
Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Yes, that's the standard.
Thank you, Maharaj. Now we will have Prashadam. Devotees have to open that gate and we can make a line.